This is a little bit of a change from my normal post because this is directed more to Caucasians. Anyway, like and subscribe and share it with your friends. Any Caucasian who does not know who Walter Reuther is should be embarrassed. He is your white Martin Luther King. He was married to May Reuther, who was a submissive wife, who was a school teacher, and she left a job paying $60 a week to work as his secretary at $15 a week in the beginning. In the thumbnail to this video, there is a picture of Walter Reuther, and I put it next to a picture of Ronald Reagan, who for some reason or another, Caucasians seem to praise Reagan, and he tried to take everything from you, and he taxed Social Security, which hurts Caucasians. He also took away the tax for new car purchases and credit cards. He hurt Caucasian Americans, and it was his tax deduction from 70% to 20-something% to rich people, which caused rich people to become billionaires. He created billionaires with a stroke of a pen. And he also created the first large deficit at his time, which has been blown up to $34 trillion. All this comes from voting for Republicans. I'm going to do you a favor and read you a description of Walter Reuther. Not only did he help with the civil rights movement, voting rights movement, he even helped Cesar Chavez with the Farm Workers Union. But most importantly, he led the way for the UAW to unionize. And just like Martin Luther King, he was arrested, beat up, and there were shots fired into his home, and he needed security. But he did not need security for protecting people of color. He needed security for protecting Caucasians from the rich. Walter Philip Reuther, September 1st, 1907 to May 9th, 1970, was an American leader of organized labor and civil rights activists who built the United Auto Workers Union into one of the most progressive unions in American history. He saw labor movements not as narrow special interest groups, but as instruments to advance social justice and human rights for Caucasians and all people in democratic societies. He leveraged the UAW's resources and influence to advocate for workers' rights, civil rights, women's rights, universal health care, public education, affordable housing, environmental stewardship, and nuclear non-proliferation around the world. Let me repeat that so that you will understand the greatness of Walter Reuther. He saw labor movements not as narrow special interest groups, but as instruments to advance social justice, human rights, and democratic societies. He leveraged the UAW's resources and influence to advocate for workers' rights, civil rights, women's rights, universal health care, which we don't have, public education, affordable housing, environmental stewardship, and nuclear non-proliferation around the world. This is what this man did and what he stood for. Like Martin Luther King, he believed in Swedish-style social democracy and societal change through non-violent civil disobedience. He founded the AFL-CIO in 1955 with George Meany. He survived 2 attempted assassinations, including one at home where he was struck by a 12-gauge shotgun blast through his kitchen window. He was the 4th and longest serving president of the UAW, serving from 1946 until his death in 1970. Caucasians, if you are interested in your history, I have left the link in the thumbnail so you can read about this great man and the great things he did for you. And all the great things he did for you, Reagan tried to take him back. He was an enemy of Henry Ford. He was an enemy of the rich class of people in power. And let me say this, every war in history has always been the rich and powerful against the working class. It's always been, the war has always been the rich and powerful against the working class. But the working class have been propagandized through racism to think that they are the rich and powerful, or a part of the white power structure. White supremacists are the rich and powerful. Their minions are those white people who work at the same jobs that black people work at and are stuck in the same hole that black people are in, and they're just trying to get to the top of the bottle. But there's a bottle, but as we all know with bottles, there's a bottleneck, and not everyone is going to get through. But let me not get off the subject. But I'm going to leave the link to Walter Reuther in Wikipedia, and you can read it for yourself, and you decide whether or not he should have a statue. He should not only have a statue, he should have a national holiday for what he did and for what he meant to this country. And the reality of the situation, I'm not voting for Trump, who is a liar. I'm not going to vote for Biden, who supports genocide. That would be foolish. And if you trust, and it would be even foolish to trust Trump. He said he didn't know the pedophile. He ripped off a charity for veterans. He put down John McCain, a prisoner of war, and he had 5 tax deferments. The rich and powerful owns the media. And that's what they use to brainwash you. They're not bringing up any of the wrong and horrible things that Trump has done. But they're trying to make him look like a hero. Trump has tried to intimidate the American people by saying if he is not elected president, there will be a bloodbath. Well, Putin, a military man, got 87% of the vote in Russia. But understand this. The way the United States put down Putin is the same way they put down Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. The same thing they said that they're saying about Putin, they said about Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. The same thing they're saying about the Russian people, they are saying about the Black Panthers. But the Black Panthers have never killed or deleted a Caucasian. The Black Panthers have never done that. And Russia has never been at war against the United States to where they should be considered an enemy of the United States. Think on that for a minute. And in the meanwhile, check out Walter Reuther and try to get him a national holiday and try to get him a statue. Like and subscribe. Talk to you later.